panel with a few other entrepreneurs and business people. I gotta go, but we're getting ready to do the panel, so come on in, join us, and let's go. Because the thing is gonna record. I think I can put the camera.
Let's see if you can put it.
He said you can. You know.
Yeah.
How to, okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go. Excuse me.
Check.
My hands are in the way. I'm about to flip to the show. There is Katrina and Alan and a few other entrepreneurs. Everyone coming in. Katrina is on the piano right now. We are at Brocoma's Decco Summit.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we feeling now that we've approached the end of day one? Good? Yeah? Glad. Okay. So we're gonna get started with our final panel for the day. If you were here the first time, we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna give a brief introduction of our panelists. They're gonna go ahead and briefly introduce themselves, and then we'll get started on questions. Okay? Awesome. Are we missing someone? Right. Thank you guys for being here. Seriously, very exciting and feels cool to share a stage with you guys. So let's get started. So our first panelist is Alan Wade. Alan is known as the king of embroidery.
Is it sideways? It should be in
Yes, just reading my notes here. Oh wait, I'm not done introducing you. King of embroidery, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he has his own custom apparel business.
Well, I don't know what else I need to say, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. I guess it's official now. I'm the king of embroidery. So I accept that proclamation, or whatever you want to call it. So thank you so much. For those of you guys that don't watch my videos on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. A-Dub Productions on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, interact with me. But don't forget the notification bell also. But part of the reason why I am good at what I do is because I try to break it down so people can understand it. So.
Right, our next panelist, and please correct me if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Ashmad, okay. So Ashmad specializes in custom hats. He actually invented the curve band, which is the curved on the hat rim, and he has over 600K followers across all social media platforms. Wow, very cool.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Ashma, like she said. Some of the Alan is kind of hard to follow it up, but I appreciate the opportunity. Like she said, I invented a product to curve the bill of your hat, so that's been like a game changer for me. I actually just left my job 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm doing content creation and running my business full time. I'm just happy to be here. Thank everybody who came out. It means a lot.
Thank you so much. And then next we have Sue. Correct? Sue?
No, Sue.
June?
I'm Kelly.
Does anyone have a nickname by Sue? Okay, who owns Brick and Mortar? Joe. Oh, I'm so sorry.
My name is Sue, and I just want to let you
I knew I should have used my own handwriting on this. So Joe, sorry about that, Joe. Is the owner of Brick and Mortar store in Georgia with over 40,000 subscribers on YouTube.
So, my name is Joe. I'm the owner of Hard Hustle Printing.
Also the owner with my wife back there of the vinyl stand. We run both of those businesses out of one. We did have two, we combined them. Now we just have one, and we stay super busy over there, doing everything from screen printing to direct garment, vinyl, sublimation, and what we're all here for, embroidery. We started with a single head, we outgrew it super fast, and now we have a 6 head, and things are looking good, so maybe we're gonna have to buy another one. So, that's me.
That was super great. Katrina is a custom apparel business owner with 80,000 YouTube subscribers.
I'm Katrina's Graceful Creations. I don't know why I'm up here on the panel with all of them, but I started out with, just doing crafts and starting out my YouTube channel, showing behind the scenes of my business. I have my own clothing line. I'm actually starting a clothing line for my son. Maybe you've seen him if you watch my channel. But just recently, last year, I added embroidery to my business because I just want to take my business up to the next level. So I have a 15 needle, and I'm actually, learning as well, soaking it all in, and it helps to have a best friend who's the king of embroidery. But, I have my own Etsy shop and Shopify store as well.
Thank you, Katrina. So next we have Kelly. Kelly also has a nickname. She's known as the embroidery nurse. Wow. She's a former nurse turned full-time embroiderer.
Oh, that's really not that exciting. I do embroidery and I'm a nurse, so there you go. I'm the embroidery nurse. And it's actually kind of funny. I was working full-time as a nurse, and I didn't come up with that name. I didn't plan on that name, but I would literally be in the cafeteria trying to get my lunch on my 5-minute lunch break, and someone would come up, "Are you the embroidery nurse?" So it just kind of landed and it stuck. It's been my name ever since. But I, again, don't really know why I'm up here with these high-level folks. But hopefully I represent the person that works out of their basement and does this amongst PTO and booster club and football practices and all that good stuff. Because that's the life I lead. I do embroidery full-time. Love doing it, but I can also shut it off with snap my fingers and spend a week, month at camp with my kids as a nurse. So I'm able to do that because I do run my own business. And I do have a Racoma 15 needle that I use, but I have 3 machines and need to run them all when I want.
If someone's working with you and they get their finger hurt or something, there's a nurse.
I'm a postcard nurse, so I can't. If you fall out on the floor, I will not be there. Okay, I think in my law I have to, but.
And then last but certainly not least, we have Adelaida. I believe Adelaida, you're a Miami local? She's a Miami local. Let's give that a round of applause. So Adelaida is the owner of Little Alexia Co., and she specializes in baby clothes with 20,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Humble beginnings. Compared to everybody out here. So I'm fairly new at the embroidery world, I want to say, but I went from being a makeup artist of 10 years, I think, to leaving that career to becoming a project director in an office, to going into the world of embroidery when I found out that I was pregnant at 5 months, and my husband had just left a medical school in the Caribbean. So my mom needed to leave her job to take care of my baby and my sister's baby, who gave birth 3 days after me. And I wanted to find something that would help her financially, and embroidery was it. We both love crafting, and now I still work my 9-to-5 job, but we still sell on Etsy. We love doing embroidery. We especially love baby items, not just because there are so many babies at home, but embroidery is super fun, especially for applique, for all kinds of things like baby beanies and baby blankets and anything that's cutesy and stuff like that, count me in. So, and I love filming it all, super fun.
You said something, you were like, oh, I don't know why I'm sitting here. And that's the beauty of Decco stuff. I said it in the first panel that it's for all skill levels. It doesn't matter if you started, if you bought your machine this morning or if you bought it yesterday, you've had it for years. I think, every one of the panelists here today have some sort of insight that someone in this audience will benefit from. So let's get started with questions. You can raise your hand. Tania over here will take you the mic. If you could wait to ask your question when you have the mic in order for it to sound loud and clear for the recording. You can address your question to one of the panelists or kind of just a free question, and any of the panelists that feel like they can answer it, they'll go ahead and answer it. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's get started. Not all at once, though.
All right, first question.
Hey, good afternoon. Just want to know, along with all the embroidery and all the things you do, what made you all decide that y'all want to document your journey? Because I'm assuming that trying to do this along with trying to edit videos and everything else, what was it about documenting the journey that brought y'all to do that for us?
These guys are much harder. I'll let them answer, but I will give my real quick version. I am targeting a person that was me 5 years ago, because when I opened up an embroidery machine that I got from a buy-sell trade page, I literally thought that I was gonna monitor the world after that, and didn't. But it sat in the box for 6 months. I was completely intimidated. It is not a world of black and white when it comes to embroidery. I guarantee you on this panel, all 5, 6 of us do different techniques to do the same thing half the time. There are 500 ways to do the same thing in embroidery, so it's confusing to start. It's not like a recipe that you follow. So for me, I make videos just for the person just like me that just bought their machine and are just trying to figure it out. But I know these guys are much bigger.
No, I couldn't say anything better. Same thing here. I just make videos like initiatives just to help people, and that's basically it. We documented it just to show people that it is possible, because just like you say, people just like, I'm just like you. Years ago, I might have a few more subscribers, but we're the same, same on beginnings. So yeah, just to help people to have an easier transition and learn from the mistakes that we made, or simplify the process so they can understand it better.
For me, along with that, my main goal for me starting my YouTube channel, because I know when I started my business, I wasn't finding the answers that I needed. So I wanted to be able to show the process and give people answers that normally you would have to take a class for, you would have to pay for, or you just can't find. So for me, starting my clothing line and showing everything, quitting my job, I wanted to show mistakes, I wanted to show behind the scenes, and I just wanted to give that information that wasn't given to me in the beginning, so people can avoid those mistakes. So that was the main goal behind my channel, and that's how it grew so fast. Because people kept saying, wow, you're really giving this information when people actually charge. So I think that's what happened. That's what really grew my platform as well.
Yeah, similar to their stories, I kind of was looking at these random videos of like dogs and cats. I'm like, okay, that's cool. If that can go viral, I'm trying to do something. I have a business, I have these products, I'm trying to stitch and embroider these hats. I was like, I could go run up the street and ring every doorbell and reach maybe 100, 200 people in my city, or I could post a video, and that potential is uncapped. There's millions of people in the world. You can never meet someone in China in person if you don't go to China, but I can get somebody online in China that sees my product, and it can spread like that. So for me, I just kind of started looking at the numbers, and that can only really be achieved online. And I feel like I'm blessed enough to live in a time where these are free to us to use, and it's there. So the fact that you even asked that question gave me like goosebumps, because like I found passion in my content creation, and that's not something that I knew I would ever do. It started with me getting an embroidery machine, but just as passionate as I want to be with embroidery, I found that love in content creation, and it was literally just me picking up a camera. And I'm sure all of us here, we all started at zero. Might look good now, but we were just like, I remember going on YouTube, how to get more views. Thought I might buy some views. That don't do that. But yeah, thought about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. We all, numbers trying to figure it out, and that led me here. Likewise, everybody next to me. So scratch that itch, man. The fact you asked that question tells me that like your brain's running, and that's the right direction for sure. I believe.
We're still live? Yeah. Whenever I first started doing content, I got my first cutter, got my first heat press, and I was reaching out to people like, what's an SVG? Like, what is that? Like, I'm getting a picture and I'm putting it in there, why isn't it cutting it? And nobody ever wanted to answer. They were like, oh, just figure it out or whatever. So whenever I created my page, I was like, I'm gonna create my channel on not only how to do it, but where to get the resources to do it. So now, like, every time that I do something, it's not about getting the views, it's about teaching someone how to do it and not turning someone down. As long as you're not moving next to me, next door to my store, I'm willing to help you out all day. I have a ton of people that come into my shop right now, and they like, Joe, I know you're super busy, but I got questions. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm willing to give you all the information. I don't care if you're 5 miles down the road, as long as you ain't moving in right next door to me, we're best friends, you know what I mean? And that's always been my view whenever I do YouTube videos, is to give back to everybody. Because I know how it is when you're first starting out, and you put a video in there, you're like, yes, here it comes. And then you're like, refresh. Refresh. And you're like, that's cool, I'll check it later. And then like 10 minutes later, refresh. And then you get that one view, and then the next day you're like, dang, like what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? Don't worry about the views, don't worry about that stuff. You never know who's watching. You never know. I've had opportunities, a lot of us have probably had opportunities from companies, and we didn't know they were watching. Right, so just keep that in mind.
That's why we're all here. Someone was watching.
Yeah, so see, there you go, right?
When did you guys know it was time to quit your job and go do this full time?
I feel like I'm fresh on that. I'll talk to you. That struck a nerve in me. Like I said, I left my job 2.5 weeks ago. So it just got to the point where I told myself if I can make as much as I make at work with my side hustle, then that's when I knew it would be safe, because I was making that work for X amount of time. So if I can duplicate that, but then the fear of it, I started matching it and even started tipping with more from my business. But I still had that fear of just like, I have insurance through this job. Do I really want to do this? What if everything cuts off? But I think it really just comes down to doubling down on yourself. If you can go, and no shame in 9 to 5, we've all been there. But if you can go clock in for work, if you can wake up early for work, if you can go to work sick, why can't you do that for yourself? So I feel like once the income matches, that's a pretty safe sign. And at that point, take the chance. And you only have months to do this life, so you can always go get another job. I'm sure you can find another job in that field. But I feel like once you make as much from your business as you're making at work, it's a pretty safe bet, and I would definitely think it's worth taking.
Since I have the mic, I'll talk next. I'm not as fresh as him. I quit a career job to do this. If some of you have followed my process, I was 13 years in the military, 7 years retired, right? So at 13 years, at 12 years in the military, I opened up our print shop. And I said, I got 1 year to make this happen. Either it happens or it doesn't. At least we gave it a try, right? And that's where we're at. March of this May. See my wife's back here? May 5th of this year, I got out the military. And like you said, you got that fear because in the military you get free everything. Free dental, free medical, everything is free, right? So now that's a fear. When you get out, you gotta pay for that stuff. You gotta do all that stuff. But by taking that step and taking it to the next level and giving that heart and that hustle every single day like they were talking about, like if you're able to give to another company that you can give to yourself, it's gonna work out for you. Trust me. Like we're super busy and we stay busy constantly every single day.
For me, I was able in the nursing field to go from full-time where I was higher level administration, running a 50-bed unit, to realizing that I really was enjoying and making money through embroidery. So I stepped back and went part-time. Then I went casual. Then I went PRN, if y'all know the world of nursing or healthcare. And then I just decided that embroidery was where I would rather be. I had to put a number figure on it for my husband to really kind of play into it, and I basically pay rent. I know that sounds silly to him. Automatically drafts out every week from my business account. But for me, it's the goal. It's the goal to okay, I gotta reach that. So instead of, you know, me watching that Netflix movie, I'm gonna go downstairs and try to sell 5 more things. Just to, I gotta meet, and that's how I realized I could do it. I had a number figure that I needed to make each week to know that it was a business and no longer a hobby. Because I certainly started it as a hobby, like a lot of people do. And there is a great place for embroidery in the hobby world. But I realized at one point that mine was no longer a hobby and it was a business, and I needed to start treating it as such. And so that meant paying myself for what I was doing instead of, I don't know. But for me, I had to have that number.
Well, my story is completely different, and I don't recommend you do this, but my situation was so different because even though I had already started my, had I started my YouTube channel? I'm not sure. But I started my business, but COVID hit. My son, had some challenges that we were going through, and therapy, different things, and it was so hard. I was a dispatcher, making great money, but I was working overnight. I was on the night shift, and as a single parent, I just said I knew I just couldn't continue doing what I was doing. So I used COVID as my reason, as my way out, and I said now is my time. It's either all or nothing. So I quit everything cold turkey, literally cold turkey. And I had nothing else to fall back on. Yes, I was a photographer on the side, but being the person that I know I am, the woman of faith, number one, that drives me, but just being a go-getter, a hustler, I already knew I wanted to start my own clothing brand. I knew I wanted to document my journey. I knew I was going to open up my stores, but it was either all or nothing. So I put everything on the line, my heart, my blood, sweat, and tears, and I had to make it work because I walked away from, like she said, insurance. I walked away from all that security, and now it's just me. So that was my story. I don't recommend you do that unless you know in your heart that you're gonna make it happen. So that was like pressure on myself to make it work, but it paid off, and I'm here now.
So, coming from someone who still works a 9 to 5, I thought I would give it a little bit more of a different kind of insight. I just want to say that it's hard to do it if you are still working a 9 to 5, but wish to make this a career and build it into something great, that it is possible to work your 9 to 5 and try to build this business so that you can eventually quit your job. I personally love my job. I love the people that I work for. They're amazing, and I don't see myself leaving for a while unless, well, my husband has to graduate medical school and then we'll talk, finish his residency. But, I get asked a lot how I do it, how I'm a mom, how I work my 9 to 5 and still get home, bathe my baby, give her dinner, and put her to sleep and work. When you have that drive to want to grow a business and want to do it, that drive alone is what will make you want to sleep only 4 hours to then wake up, work, go to work, get home, feed your baby, put her to sleep, and then work for your business. And that's how I've been able to do it. And I just want to say that it is possible. And if you feel intimidated by it, you just got to work with that want to grow your business, and you can make it happen.
You guys are amazing. What were you saying about?
Okay. Okay, here we go. So I just wanted to add something to what everybody's talking about, but I'm not specifically answering your question, but I think it's something that everybody might should take into consideration. There's no difference between your job and your business. You start your business. So try to visualize in your head, what does my job do for me that's stopping me from leaving my job? And I think most of us as adults, we're thinking about, oh, you got these great benefits, you're gonna leave your benefits? Well, guess what? Your job buys benefits, so buy some benefits. Oh, it's so expensive. No, it's not. It's not, it's really not. The one thing that people are fearful of is dental benefits or medical benefits. When you start making money, you're gonna see that it's not as expensive as I thought it was all these years, right? You get what package does my job provide for me? How much does it cost me to get this package on my home? Figure that out, if that's your fear. And once your business starts to grow, you're gonna understand, like, it's not that bad, right? And your job, you're gonna cap out with your job, right? You're gonna, okay, work your way up. Your employer is not gonna allow you to make more money than your employer is making, right? So you're never gonna make all the money that you wanna make at your job. So if that's your goal, then why not take a chance at yourself? You're not gonna cap yourself out, right? And you're not gonna limit yourself on the amount of money, the amount of income that you can make on yourself. So like, that alone, once you figure out a system that works for you, for me, I left one didn't make any sense anymore. This, it's like you, this is bigger than this. I know I can buy insurance, I can buy my own insurance. It doesn't make sense when you stay anymore. So, and I was with my job for 20 years, great benefits, everything, but it just didn't make sense anymore. And plus, I enjoyed doing what I was doing on the side anyway. So when it didn't make any sense anymore.
So I have a question. Right. So I have all the social media, right? But I'm very camera shy. Can't be in front of the camera. So what advice would you guys give us that would help us get started with that?
Some of the biggest performing YouTube channels never show their face. You only see their hands or hear their voice. So throw that excuse out the way. You do not have to show. I just had a big surgery, as some of y'all can talk. So my first video back, I didn't even show my face. You know, you can do voiceovers. I had a lot of, hang-ups and stuff in the beginning, insecurities. We all have them to some degree. Listen, when you start getting that money, you ain't gonna care. Sooner or later. Figure it out.
And just being real, not trying to, it can't all be about the sales pitch. Just being, I don't edit a lot of my videos. Like, I'm gonna show you every mistake I made, because if I don't, then you're gonna think, what am I doing wrong? And so I've made some crazy mistakes when I make videos or posts that I made, but I just want that to be real. Doesn't that happen to us all? It wouldn't be honest if I didn't. So just being yourself.
And just building off of what she said, some of my videos that have had the most success have been failures, to where either the hat didn't come out right, and I was like, whatever, I need to post it, I'm still gonna post it, and I'll make it a point to say, hey guys, this one didn't work out, what should I do next time, or what advice do you have? And even posting your failures and just being transparent goes a long way. So if part of it, and I'm just assuming, but if part of your fear or the anxiousness of posting is just perfection, people respect things that aren't perfect. None of us in this room are perfect. So I feel like if you're able to show that you're not perfect and show mistakes, and even in your first video, you can sit there and say, hey guys, I'm nervous, but check out what I'm about to show you how to do. People will respect that, and that goes a long way, because it's hard to find genuine people, especially in the social media space. So I feel like people naturally draw to that. And there's a lot of other people. I myself get anxiety, so if you say that in a video, even that could be something that brings a certain crowd to you. So I wouldn't shy away. And kind of like she said, just kind of got to get over it. It's like plain as it sounds, but it'll be fruitful in the long run for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I would say along the same ways. Like, my YouTube channel started by accident, and it's because my daughter wanted to do YouTube videos. So I was like, yeah, let's do it, you know what I mean? And she was like, everybody's looking at me. No, you have to just not care what people think. And that's the really big thing about social media, is if you tend to get hurt very easy, so if you tend to get hurt very easy, trying to say it a nice way, then it could be something that you don't want to do. But if you just post your videos and don't listen to the negative, because there's always going to be someone that's going to be negative. There's always going to be someone that's going to try to say something about what you're doing. Don't worry about them. Concentrate more on the ones that are being positive and answer those questions. And I'll tell you, just by, like, me, personally, like, I try to answer everything. And people are like you're answering, like, you answered everybody. Like, I try to, you know what I mean? Because I know how it is when you're first starting out. So don't be shy, don't worry about what people are thinking. Get on there and just do you.
I want to add one more thing before the next question goes. Oh, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? I apologize. Real quick, a bit on that. I would say too, like, what I've learned is no one wants to be the first person to support you. So it's hardest to get like your first 10 subscribers, followers, fans. Once you get that 10, it's almost like a word of mouth thing that spreads. But once the traction starts to build, people want to jump on the hot thing. So honestly, the hardest part is just doing it. And once you do it, it's like a snowball effect. Like once you get your first 10, the next 100 subs and followers is going to be way easier, and it kind of just builds from there. So the hardest part is just getting started.
The only thing that I was gonna add is, so YouTube for me is just fun. Like, that's just something fun. I'm talking in my basement, so I feel like I've got entertainment. My business is not YouTube. So I know some of these folks up here probably are because of how big they are, but my business comes first. The YouTube is for fun. My business will allow me to quit my 9-to-5 job, or that's a joke for nurses. My 7-to-7 job was my business and what I was doing. I invested my time in that. So I would definitely suggest doing that first. The rest, you can come and build off of. But for me, that's not where my business comes from. Mine comes from Etsy. Mine comes from Shopify. Mine comes from a lot of different outlets. Just having kind of multiple streams of where you're showcasing your stuff.
I just want to add one more thing, that once you start and once you get a following, if the people are drawn to you, if they like you, they're not going to care about imperfections. They're not going to care about like mistakes. They're going to appreciate that, like they say. But let them know who you are. Like I said, be authentic. When I tell you, when I started out, I was like, I'm corny. I don't think no one's going to like me. I don't think my family loves me because they have to. They think I'm, kind of crazy. But you would be surprised as to who would buy into your brand, who would pour into your business, and who would support you because you're being real and authentic. So, like you said, it might sound harder than what it actually is, but forget about all that stuff and just be you, and you'll be surprised at who really supports you.
One more thing that I want to add is like you said, just first starting out is going to be the hard thing, but then it's going to come. Like she said, she doesn't make a living off of YouTube. I don't make a living off of YouTube. But what I always tell people is, I don't make a living off of YouTube, but I make a living off of YouTube. And what I mean by that is, because of the opportunities YouTube has given me, I've been able to make a living off of YouTube because I've gotten sponsorships. And with those sponsorships, I'm taking those machines and I'm profiting more money through what I'm doing than actual YouTube money. Yeah, I make a little bit of money, it pays the lights, but still, I'm not making a living off of YouTube, but I'm making a living off of YouTube.
My question is, I just bought a machine, two-head machine, and I need to find a way and what way to buy the thread, for example, and what quality should be the thread, and are we depending on any other country like China, the world's biggest supplier? Are we depending on them?
Earlier. I didn't go live.
The world is crazy now, and you never know. Can we rely on those countries or no? Because we're quitting the job, right?
So,
yeah, I saw that guy. And are we relying on China or our country first and then others?
So you're talking about supplying threads, and are we
threads and other materials in this business?
I've never heard of there being a thread shortage. If that's what you're thinking about, I think there's enough thread in the United States. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
I don't know anything about it.
But even still, I'm not sure of if there's any U.S. manufacturers, but Madeira pretty much has the monopoly on the thread game. They have it on lockdown, and their policy on this. It's not that it's not good, it's just that it's an opportunity for somebody else to come up with another thread line. So it's not that it's not good. What if Madeira wasn't around? That would be not good, right? That would be not good. So they're around, so that's a good thing. But if you want to come out with a thread line, you can. So if you think it's not good, they have a monopoly, come out with a thread line. You got a bunch of business. You can take from Madeira.
I'm a poor guy, I just bought a machine. By mistake.
It's
my
thread,
mistake,
it's
but
thread, how hard is that, right?
The salesman did a good job, you know.
Yeah.
That's all they did. And I got it, you know, and I have a lot of questions, tons of questions, where to buy this, what quality should be.
Madeira,
These guys.
There's lots of good threads, but there's lots of bad threads too. And this crazy thing about some machines is they like one thread and not the other. I mean, machines, and I know it sounds crazy, and y'all shake your head, machines have their own personalities. It is kind of wild. I have one machine that loves one thread, and the other one, it breaks every time I use it. So it is odd. There's lots of things. And honestly, YouTube is now a place that people use, just like Google. You put in a question on YouTube. I mean, I would say a lot of the videos that people make are answering a question that someone has. So you can probably find every answer on YouTube to any question.
We do not depend on any other country, right?
I do some days, but I mean, not for that.
I think we depend on, to a certain aspect, it's kind of hard to answer your question, but to a certain degree.
His question was, are you supplying out of the country or are you supplying in the country? And what happens if our borders close and you're supplying out of the country? How would you then get your supplies? That's the question.
Yeah, so that's a question, that's an interesting question, but I don't think we're qualified to answer this question because none of us are thread manufacturers, so.
Well, you have supplies to supply.
Right, yeah, so like I said, every time I've ordered threads, I've never had problems getting them. And Madeira is in the United States, right? So I don't think they have any shortages. I've never tried to order a thread and they were out of stock.
I've ordered some stuff. I order all my stuff from Madeira, and it's just because whenever the Racoma team sent me my machine, it came with all Madeira stuff. And being that you got the double head or the dual head, it's going to come with, did you get the 15 or the 20? It's going to come with enough thread to fill that whole thing up one time. So then you're going to get to use that thread, you're going to get to experience, and then whenever you're ready to order some more, Madeira is there. That's who I use for all my stuff. So.
They're fast.
And they're fast, yeah. And they have multiple warehouses. So I put in an order like once or twice a month, and whenever I order, I make sure I order a lot. And then they'll send me an email and be like, hey, we don't have it at this warehouse, but we can order it from this warehouse. There's more than just, there's Madeira, but there's more than just one location.
So I'd like to add to your question, coming from, I work for a company who actually purchases and manufactures in China, and we basically, to put it into example, we do like the backlit mirrors and stuff for locations like this, and you know, when COVID hit, obviously we had the problems of the port, delayed containers, and so my boss thought, let's think out of the box. How can we make these backlit mirrors domestically? So what have we been doing? We've been making, you know, pre-pieces, samples essentially, domestically made that are backlit pieces that we can have, that have shorter lead times, that we can get quickly, that we can get if things in China close down, you know, COVID hits, they close out whole cities at a time. So to answer your question, if China were to have some issues where they could not manufacture our threads, a company in the United States would open a business up so quickly because the profits would be through the roof. So
Yeah, there is a smile.
immediately you'll have a company that'll be like, oh, here's a possibility, let me open a company and start threads. So yeah, there might be a shortage of threads for a while, but you'll have a company immediately that'll domestically
There is
make
a
them.
lot of cotton here.
But in the meantime, you can stock up some of your popular colors, stock up so you have an inventory just in case something like that did happen.
But just know there are other companies that sell thread. Because I order a lot of screen printing stuff, and those websites, we won't talk about who they are, but they do carry threads. Just know that it's not only Madeira.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions?
So for those panelists that have decided to do their own clothing brands or clothing lines, what made did you do the jump from, let's say, purchasing order files to moving to your own clothing line? And have you found that your own clothing line is more profitable?
I actually have an Etsy store as well where I'll do SVGs and I'll do like custom birthday shirts and stuff like that. But for me, I always wanted my own Christian clothing brand because at the time there wasn't a lot, but now it seems like there's one, like there's a church on every corner, there's a clothing brand pretty much. But I just really wanted to start my own brand. It was always my goal. So I'm doing everything I can now to like really push it, launch it, and propel it. But I do have both because I have a fallback. But when I first launched it, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't know how good it was gonna do, I didn't know how well it was gonna be received, and because I was only, literally only in that like one little small niche, like if he is not a believer, I'm just using you as an example, he's not gonna buy, from me. So my niche was very specific, I had a certain target area, but it really did well. I was surprised. I was like, oh snap, I'm about to take off. So I just really, for me, I just really just wanted to do something different. I wanted to, expand my business, and that was what I stuck with. I just really gave it my all, but I still have an Etsy shop to fall back on when that wasn't going good, if I answered your question.
And to build off of what she said, I feel like it's definitely good to start out doing custom stuff, but you do run the risk of legal liabilities. And when you're a small fish, it's probably pretty safe to try it out if you so choose to. But in the long run, you want to eventually, or I would say, be doing your own stuff. And like she said, it's a different type of fulfillment. When you come up with this design, I make it as is. It's dope to get a custom order, but it's nice to also have something that I created and people respect it and appreciate it as is. And on the flip side, like she said, it's even a great thing to have that be both sides of your business, to where hit me up, we can work something out, probably a little bit longer of a turnaround time for something custom, but I also have this back end where I can also make profit over here. And it's ready to go, you buy it, it's shipped next day. It's almost just diversifying your income. So similar as she said, don't feel like you have to do one or the other, but there is a different type of fulfillment that I think you can get from having ready to made. And I designed this, I chose every color, I put the logo there, the logo here, and people are buying clothes, buying garments every day, so why can't they buy from you or the next person?
Custom versus having your own brand. I think it depends, like Katrina, she has a specific niche, so you want to know what's more profitable. Well, custom apparel decorating, hands down, is going to be more profitable initially if you're just getting started, because if you want to build a brand, you have to do that. You have to build the brand, and you have to create a story behind why that brand exists, and you have to create a whole story and kind of like build that specific a following behind the name and that design, that logo. It has to mean something. Other than that, it's not going to be very. So if you're looking at what you're gonna make the most profit from the fastest, I would say definitely custom apparel, because there's always somebody that wants something done versus something that you have. This is what I have. This is the only thing that I have to sell you, right? So, and also when you purchase a machine, you want to produce a certain income so you can justify that purchase. So hands down, I would say custom apparel decorating, but also you have to decide what it is that you want to do. What do I find the most fulfillment in? And there is a huge level of fulfillment, especially if you're an artist or even have a slight type of creative bone in your gene. It's a type of fulfillment that nothing can replace when you have an idea in your head and you create that thing and make it a tangible thing that people can hold in their hands and other people like it. It's a good feeling that it gives you, you know what I mean? So it's like this, you gotta decide what you wanna do.
To add to that, so I know you probably can speak more on it as well because you do baby clothes, but for me, because I do custom apparel as well. So like just take for example, like when you do birthday shirts or different designs, it gets tedious for me because, say for instance, someone wants, a birthday shirt for Coco Melon, or someone wants a birthday shirt for Little Mermaid. You gotta change the name, you gotta change the number. So when you're doing like all that custom work, it's not like a simple print off. It's not like a simple, supplement. You gotta change all that stuff for every order. Versus my apparel, my brand, it's already ready to go. I make it once and I just put it on the garment that one time. Or if you have a production company. But if you're doing custom work for people, if they're sending you their artwork, their logos, if you have to design, it's a lot. So you have to just think about what route you want to go and what's best for you, what's more time effective as far as, your time management. Because I know for me, if I'm doing custom hats, custom shirts, it's a lot for me. So I'm like, let me just stick to my brand because that's what's what brings you the most, money as well. What do you like to do best? So you just have to figure out which one is best for you.
I have a question. When you say your own clothing brand, do you mean like you make the stuff and you sell a lot of it at a time, or like custom make, or like wholesale to sell just the item?
Like what Black Bear, Miss Allen is doing, like he has his Black Bear brand.
So he pre-makes everything and then sells it like in larger quantity.
Right.
Okay. Because for me, I do apparel, but I have my own actual clothing made, and then I get it from China, and then I sell that, and then I also add the personalization to it. So then they can either buy the onesie by itself, that's my brand with my logo that I get made, or they can add the embroidery to it. One trick that I did as far as like being able to mass produce custom items is I try to find the science, like if you have a shirt that sells a lot and it's like an applique or something, or it uses a certain thread color a lot, you want to have those pieces pre-made. Like I will have like the pieces of the fabric like pre-cut in a drawer, so that every time when that order comes in, I just have to change the name, throw the shirt on, grab my little pieces and throw them on there. The shirt's done in 25 minutes. So that's a little trick to be able to mass produce custom items. I hope I answered your question.
I'm gonna tell you one more thing too. When you're going into your journey, right? I hear a lot of questions about money and how much is this and understand that if you're not enjoying something, it's not going to be sustainable. You're going to dread doing it. So you don't want to leave your job to create another job that you don't enjoy doing. So like Katrina said, this is complicated, this is easier. I'd rather do my brand because it's not as, change number, do this, but guess what? Something different is exciting every once in a while. So maybe you might enjoy it. Maybe you're like Katrina, you don't enjoy it. So there's no one size fits all to answer that question. You know what I mean? I think you got that from everybody's answer. But one thing is for sure, two things for certain. You definitely want to enjoy whatever path you choose. You definitely want to enjoy what you're doing, or else it's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to dread doing it every day, and it's going to be another job that you want to get out of. So just think about that.
I don't do, I have my logo, I don't sell it, I don't promote it. I got my logo and then my brand, which is the HHP. I don't sell it. I've never been the one to be like, let me promote my hats, let me do this. If I have another decorator, like Black Bear would reach out and be like, hey man, let's just trade them. I'm willing to do that. I do that with other people that are like, hey man, I'm gonna send you my logo, you send me your logo. Cool, we swap them. Me getting into the six head is more of the custom, big stuff that we're doing. For instance, I do a lot of stuff for nurses. I do a lot of stuff for the golf community because I'm in Augusta, Georgia, so I do a lot of that stuff. So whenever I get those orders in, I have, like they were saying, have those little circle things that you need. For me, I don't do a lot of the applique stuff, but I do some of it, but not a lot of it. And my take on that is whenever a customer comes in and they're bringing me 300-400 pieces, I find out whenever we print that PDF what color they're going to use, and then we order enough for the six head to run that machine at its full capacity. So we're not running two heads because we only have two thread colors, right? And then we save that. We save those colors, we put them away, so when that customer comes back again, we can run it at full capacity. And that's just how I run my business with the brand stuff.
Hi, first of all, thank you for being here. I follow 3 of you guys, and it's awesome. Second, I know that some of you do Etsy. Is it worth it? Their fees are, they have a lot of fees, they're kind of high. Is it worth it, and what's your suggestion for us to get into Etsy?
Etsy's all about pictures, so anything you ever make, take a picture, that's all that sells on Etsy is your photos. It's not the descriptions, the names get you a little more lead, but people buy pictures. I know some people don't like Etsy, they don't like the fees, but I don't have to pay a fee for renting a brick and mortar. I don't have to pay a light bill. Etsy lets me, I have literally sold to every single state in the country. I couldn't have done that on my Facebook page starting off. I mean, it's an automatic audience that's looking for items that you sell. So the fees to me are just a wash. And if you feel like the fees are bothering you, you need to raise your prices. That is where I would say 80% of my business is on Etsy.
So it's totally worth it.
It's totally worth it. You just have to start. But pictures are the way to start. Taking good quality pictures. So if there's something you want to invest in, it's good. Not a good camera. Your phone can work just fine, but backdrops and things like that. Your pictures are what sell on Etsy.
Thanks, sir.
Someone said in the last panel that Etsy was like a bad boyfriend that you just couldn't break up with. And it's actually true. I have Etsy and Shopify. I have a video on my channel where I compare them both, so definitely check that out. I go into detail about the fees. There are a lot of fees, but like she said, you can easily hide those fees in your prices. I hide shipping in my prices. I don't pay for nothing because I'm going to charge you, the buyer. So you just have to learn, but you also need to compare the market with, if we have similar listings, you want to make sure you're not overcharging and you want to make sure you're not undercharging. But it's literally all about those pictures. It's all about, those reviews as well. So I built up my Etsy shop with some of the best listings because I have bomb photos, and then the product reviews help as well. But it's up to you. What do you think if it's worth it for you? You don't own the platform, so you have to follow their rules. It's not your own website. So yes, Etsy brings all those viewers to you because you wouldn't have had them on your own. Etsy literally is a place for all people selling handmade goods. So you have a customer base already. I was shopping on Etsy before I was selling on Etsy. So there's pros and cons to it.
Have you opened your Etsy shop yet? No. You're thinking about it? So one thing that I always say is Etsy is a very good place to start for someone who wants to sell something. So I started with party favor soaps, chocolate lollipops, baby bows, and then so I finally went into embroidery, but I always started on Etsy. And yes, photos do work, but I think that psychology is all it's all about Etsy and trying to grab people's attention. The photos do work, but one thing that I tested when I started selling on Etsy was I took the best photos and I tried to make my listings super detailed, and the photos looked great, super good quality, very well edited. I didn't sell anything. And for a month, I was not getting any sales, and I spoke to my husband, and I say this story a lot because it could not be any more true. And I was telling him, I was I'm not selling, the pictures are good, I know that they're good because they look similar to everybody else's. And he was like, well, where are your prices at? And I'm like, well, my prices are like everybody else's. And he's like, well, you have no background, you have no sales, you have no reviews. Why should they trust you and trust that that photo is what they're getting? So he was like, oh, I just read an article about Jeff Bezos. And I always say this, that Jeff Bezos started on Amazon by selling his products cheaper than how everybody else was selling them. And that's what made him build a rapport with people. And I did that. I cut the cost
cost. I knew I was gonna lose money. I cut the cost. I did discounts. So all of my items had discounts. Like it was at the same price that anybody else was selling it, but it had a discount. So its true price was the $28, but they were getting it for like 20. And when I did that, I did the discount plus the free shipping, and I made $15,000 in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And it was night and day. I was telling him, I was like, oh my God, I made 5 more sales today. Until I started getting the sales, I started getting the reviews, and every day I would raise the price $1, $2. You know, when people tell you you're gonna start a business, people always say you're gonna lose money first. You know,
True.
you have to invest to be able to get something back. And I invested and I saw return, and it really does work. The discounts really do work because they think that they're getting a deal, and they're like, you know what, let me try to get it. And then when they get the product, it's a good quality product. So they're like, I got a good quality product for a good price, I'll make you buy it.
My embroidery business started kind of like what she's mentioning. I didn't know what I was doing. I had this embroidery machine. I thought I was going to do all the things. I didn't really intend to have a business. But I saw this really cute seersucker dress, and I live in the world of seersucker, and I posted it, and I said it was going to be $18 with a monogram. And if y'all know anything, that was like literally not even paying for herself. But to tell you that I didn't know about embroidery at that moment, I had 75 people comment within 2 hours that they wanted this dress. I bought 2. For every time someone bought one, I bought 2 because I didn't know enough about embroidery and I was too scared I was going to mess up every single one of them. So I was in the hole doing these, but it built my business. Hands down, that one time of offering something that was so below price of what it should have been. And really I only did that because I didn't even know about pricing. I didn't even know where the market was at that moment. But that's how it built my business, because all of a sudden already had 75 people that purchased from me quality work. And it was quality because I might have messed up on their first one, but I had a backup to support it if I needed. But really, like the prices that were really low at the beginning, and I was able to now for this, what I sold an $18 dress for now, at least be $40. So pricing in the beginning to get people to buy from you, and then showing them how quality your work is, and then it's kind of word of mouth from there.
Thank you.
I have a question.
So as a starter, how did you overcome your fear? Because, you know, I am gonna give everything from me to this business. Do you have fear?
Are you looking at it from a fear of content or a fear of investing with no return? Or
Yes, everything. Everything. How do I business this machine? How do I do this? How do I get customers? Everything. Because this is kind of like drowning.
So the way I looked at it when I first got my machine and I was looking into eventually leaving my job, it's like, okay, if it comes down to it, I can do my own brand. I can go to my local high school if I need to and make hats for them, make shirts for them. So one way I would think is maybe write down a list of 10 ways you can monetize your machine or whatever it is that you're doing. Write that down, and it's okay, if this goes bad, I got this. If I can't make shirts for myself, I can go, like I said, to local school, and I feel like doing that will give you some form of safety net. And also, going back to just management of the back end of a business, I wrote down like all my bills, like how much money do I need to make to stay afloat? And I feel like just looking at that number, as simple as it sounds, knowing like, okay, I need X amount of money a month to even wake up and look myself in the mirror, have a roof over my head at night, and align that with all the different ways you can monetize, whether it be from posting content, selling, you know what I mean, for yourself or for whoever else. And I feel like that would take some of the stress off. But at the end of the day, I mean, day to day, nothing is guaranteed, especially when you're running a business yourself. So that's just part of what the realization you have to walk into is that this could all end tomorrow, but in that same breath, whatever 9 to 5 year job you're working, what happens if that business ends? So I feel like the fear never truly goes away, but it's just about having safety nets and options in mind for if this goes bad, I'm gonna do this, if this goes bad, I'll do this. And I feel like the fulfillment you get outweighs the fear at a certain point.
To add on that, I think for me personally, I just have to learn to practice what I preach, because I personally, I was a youth leader. I still in my son, being bold, being, standing up for what's right, just being a leader in general. So yes, when you're starting a new business, when you're starting something, a new job, or whatever it is, there's always some anxiety, there's always some fear, right? Because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. But at the same time, every day just gets a little bit easier. I always tell people just to start. You don't know what's going to happen, but just start. Put all that aside. You can build gradually, but every day gets a little bit easier. You get a little bit comfortable. People get to really fill out who you are. But for me, I had to put all that aside, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go with it. Because if it's in you, what's in you has to come out. If it's your desire, if it's something that you really, really want to do, you're going to find a way to make it happen. That's just who I am. So you have to find out what really drives you. Is this something that you really want? Because if it's something that you want, you're going to find a way to make it happen. And that's what motivates me. So you have to have that passion, you have to have that motivation, and you have to say to yourself, you know what? Fear not going to live here. Fear is not going to live here. And if I have these goals, if I have these visions that I set for myself, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to make it happen. Point blank, period. If that's what you really want. So I think we hold our own selves back sometimes. We hold our own selves back from doing things that that's not even that hard. So when you think about it, at the end of the day, you could have been further along. Like when I started my YouTube channel, I was thinking about it for literally about 2 years before I started, and he kept telling me, start your channel, but it was fear that held me back. And when I started it, I'm like, oh my goodness, why didn't I start 2 years ago?
So it's like you said, I think the fear is always there, right? I have a brick and mortar store, so when you talk about like a fear, that's a fear, because you don't know, like we're not a Walmart where everybody's going there because they need groceries every day. Right? We're creating garments. Not everybody needs that every day, but it takes something simple like a post. You can put a post out. I put a post out whenever I talked about this in my classes. So if you heard my classes, probably repeating. But whenever I moved into my new community, when we bought a new house, I moved into that town. I put a post out in my community that, hey, we're new to the community. We're new to this town. We just opened up a store. If you guys need anything embroidered, screen printed, vinyl work, something for your school, we got you, right? And then someone reached out to me, and by that person reaching out to me, I got a year-long contract with them. Not just for 1 year, but when I say a year-long, is they have a year-round soccer league where I'm at, and I do that. And it's every week that we're doing different things, right? So by making a post, it can be something that simple that brings in that business, and it's reoccurring. And then from him getting stuff done, it's word of mouth. Oh, go see Joe. Go see Joe. Next to Toki's restaurant. Go see Joe. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like the fear is always going to be there. Trust me, because there's a lot more than just overhead that goes into it. Right? There's a ton of stuff that you have to worry about whenever you open up a brick and mortar store. And all the bills, like she was saying, she'd rather stay home and do it. You know what I mean? And that's the best way. But if you can get out and you can do it, and you can promote yourself, and you can hustle every single day and outwork everybody, because you gotta have that mentality. There's people in here that probably have a lot of screen printing automatics. I have a manual, but I'm outworking them. That's just my mentality all the time, right? You gotta keep that in mind, and you gotta know that that fear is always gonna be there.
Yeah, just building off of what he said and also what she said. The last question, I feel like you get in, you get out. She said that maybe make a little bit less money per item, but the amount of sales I make, I'll be doing a lot more work per item, but I still make more. So things like that can be, again, going back to those safety nets than I normally would. And I'll be doing a little bit more time shifts to get that extra income. So I feel like just my out, if things go wrong, will again ease away some anxiety, but it'll never completely go away.
One more thing, like giving sales is always a good thing. I just got a wide format printer, right? So now I can do banners and stickers and whole bunch of stuff that I didn't think I could do before. But running sales is cool because I'm like, oh look, posting on Instagram, I got stickers. I can make you your own stickers. I got a couple stickers. You run a sell on it, now everybody thinks that they're getting a better deal, and now you got like 10 people. I need 50, I need 100, I need 200, and now they have that sample in their hand. And when they get them, they're like, now I know where to go for my stickers. So that you gave them that discount price. You gave those individuals that discount price to put it out there, right? And then when you put it out there, they see the quality of the work. The next time, they're like, I don't need a discount because I know the quality I'm going to get.
I think that's a great place now. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. You have a question? Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for everyone on the panel. We're so appreciative for your time. You guys are all so well spoken and very insightful, inspirational. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Honestly, like even me, I work a normal 9 to 5, and a lot of it, it's really inspiring to hear your stories, and not just with embroideries, but just a look at life. So we really do appreciate it. It was really good. Thank you.
I don't know if we're going to get the opportunity to do this again with a microphone because I know they got hands-on training the next couple of days. But let's give a big shout out to Henry over there for putting together